Salut, ça va?
Hi.
Hello.
To start, could you just introduce yourself for the people who might not know you?
All right. So my nickname is Pod2g. I've been in the cyber security field for, let's say, 15 years now. My first name is actually Cyril, and I live in France, in a city called Lyon, which is the third city in size of France, like a smaller Paris. I really like this city, by the way. Yeah, that's the small introduction. What do you want to know?
How did you come up with your handle Pod2g?
Oh yeah. So it was back in 2008. 2008, I bought an iPod 2G, and at the time, it wasn't like as let's say usable that it is that right now. With your iPod 2G, you could listen to music, go to the web, but the App Store was really limited. You had only maybe 500 apps on it. It was really the beginning. And so I got frustrated, and I saw some people, particularly the iPhone dev team, had ways to unlock these kind of devices, to add like new packages and like open SSH, and I was like really impressed that it was possible to do, but not on the iPod 2G. Sadly, you could do this um, on the iPhone, maybe iPhone 3G at the time. I don't want to say anything wrong here, but you couldn't do it on the iPod 2G. Uh, so yeah, so that's the story here. So I got frustrated and like browsed the web, and there was this guy called Chronic, which is real name, Will Straffetch, that had a wiki explaining why whatever was possible on the iPhone wasn't possible on the iPod 2G. Basically, like different boot ROM, different boot components, not the same software. And because like the revision of iOS was like more recent on that one. And yeah, but he explained something that he had found a command, uh, which is called arm7go, in the iBoot, that was like um, different than the others, security wise. You could do like you reverse the whole thing, and the check about like if the phone is a development phone or a production phone wasn't properly done on in this particular command of arm7go. So I explained that on the wiki, and so I was like, okay, there's maybe something to do here, and I tried myself. It wasn't really my job at the time. I was just like a software engineer, and just frustrated by this iPod 2G not doing whatever I wanted to do. Um, and so I tried myself, and I tried to like connect to this iBoot thing, input this command, and I've realized something wrong about it. Like if I sent some payload before and then executed that command, sometimes the phone would reboot or something. So I realized, oh, it's maybe executing ARM code, like the code that I'm uploading to the phone. It's trying to execute it or something. And so I didn't know anything about that at the time. Like I was brand new in all this cybersecurity field and all. Um, but I wanted to join this IRC channel of that he had on the like linked on the wiki, and I had to pick up a name, and that comes from it. Pod2g, iPod2g. Yeah,
Okay, wow. So it's from your first iOS hacking then.
exactly. First ever thing on iOS. I didn't know anything about iOS. I just knew like this command was doing something wrong, and I joined, and I helped them, and together we figured out like really quickly how to come up with a payload to exploit the iBoot, and really quickly after that, I dumped the boot ROM of the iPod 2G, and then we started reversing it, and so on and so on. Yeah.
Can we go to your origin story a bit, like your background? Because how did you learn to be able to do all of that already? Were you already working in the scene of security?
Absolutely not. So yes, I was at the time a software engineer, working on like banking software, document management, like absolutely not related anything of like that. I was doing like Java web development. Yeah, no low level programming, no nothing. Um, so that was my actual job. But if we go back like a few years before, like in the 90s, at that time, yeah, I had like the computers of the time, the Atari ST, you maybe not know, you're too young, but the Amiga, and I had a few computers, the Amstrad CPC 64. So I was used like to at the time to do low level programming and some demo scene as well. I did like some demos for my personal pleasure. And so yeah, so I kind of knew about assembly already and all of that, but it wasn't my main focus at the time. Yeah.
I did a bit of research myself as well, and I read that you started programming when you were 5 years old. Is that true?
Yeah. That is actually true. Around that. The real story about it is, yeah, you're good actually. You found that somewhere. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
impressed.
My roommate and I spent an evening researching you, trying to find out everything.
Okay. When I was a kid, I was watching my dad like using his computer, and he was programming, doing his own chess engine or something, and I was just watching him, and sometimes. Like every evening, he would teach me some stuff. Like, oh, this means if something, then I do that, and so on. So he explained me the concept behind programming, and I don't know exactly like right now it's so many years ago, but I don't know exactly how it happened. But like really, maybe just a year after this, he brought a computer and installed it in my room with a TV and all, and at the time, like we were talking some mid 80s, you couldn't do anything with a computer without programming actually. So he also gave me a book, and I was a kid, not really like knowing how to read stuff, but still I was like typing and copying whatever was on that book, just to have the computer do something and maybe play games on it. Yeah, and that's how it started.
How, how did you explain to your friends in school your programming hobby at the time?
Oh, that's a very good question. I actually never really talked about it. Like, um, if you come back to the 80s or 90s, especially in France, wasn't really cool to be a nerd. You wanted to be to be a cool guy, and talking about the fact that you knew about programming and that you had a computer in your room and so on wasn't like really a subject to come up with. So I didn't really talked about it with my friends. It was like a solo thing.
Okay. So that stayed your hidden little secret for some time until you got into iOS reversing.
Just the story that I told you about, like this iPod 2G thing, and then it's like you start from this, and it's a game, and you kind of yeah, how to explain that? You're into that game, and there are other actors, there are other teams. So I was part of this chronic dev team uh, channel on IRC, and but there was like competing teams. For example, the iPhone dev team or GeoHot at the time. GeoHot would also do this kind of stuff. So we were when you start doing this and you have an exploit inside iBoot and so on, you're kind of rushing, you're kind of racing against time so that the others so you have a software out. It's about fame. It's about, I think, fame and competition, and it's also like really really interesting. And for some reason, um, the boot ROM was like the growl on iOS, because this part of the software, you don't have any feedback, no debugging, no nothing. So the only feedback that you have, it's either the device is crashed and not responding over USB, or it works basically. And you have your binary on IDA, and you statically looking at it and trying to understand what's going on. And I think that's really, really exciting stuff to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
right now, like in 2025, I won't say that the game is completely different, but those bootrom bugs are very rare. I don't even know if there is one remaining in the world. Maybe someone has something like that, but I don't actually know. And as far as I can tell, there's nothing remaining. Um, so it was interesting because there was also something to find, and we knew there was something to find.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry, I took for a long time.
No, no, it's fine. Would you say that the state of iOS hacking is slowly dying?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about this particular space. The boot process of the iPhone is kind of a very very restricted, like very small piece of code right now. And and there's maybe like really barely something to find in there. That's my point of view.
Okay, so more specifically like, in the boot ROM.
Yeah, but that's where I started. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. And so I looked what is I think funny, and kind of relate the kind of culture there was at the time, is when I go back on the wiki and look at like the history of all of that. You see that all people treated themselves like, for example, so when I find this bug, 24K pawn. I was the only one finding it. You know, as far as I can tell, I was the only one finding it. But if you look at the history now, there's like 10 people that worked on it, and this guy found it independently, and so on and so on. But that's not the true story. But it means that the game was like really a competition, and everyone wanted credit about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you were actually the one that found it, but 10 other people stole credit from you.
Yeah, they probably. What I'm meaning here is they probably contributed to some extent. Maybe I asked a question on the channel and they answered. But what is incredible here is your people were alone doing stuff and just discussing, and then they found something, and then you have everyone getting credit, and that's what people wanted at the time. They wanted credit, they wanted to be famous, and that's where I'm at, and that's why I have this many followers on Twitter, because of these times, and but now I think everything's different.
Mm-hmm. And so at the time then, you were known for writing one of the first iOS jailbreaks in history, I believe, right? What's the story behind it?
Um, well, I wouldn't say I was one of the first. There were jailbreaks before, especially done by the iPhone dev team. Planet Being, real name David Wong, and the other guys of the iPhone dev team found different things, different like really interesting things about the iPhone and the boot ROM. What was it called again? Like Poundage 2.0. They found different bugs, and very very clever and interesting bugs in the certificate parsing of the boot ROM. So really really interesting and crazy stuff at the time. So I cannot say I was the first doing it. There were people before me, but I arrived in the early days for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I forgot the question.
What was the story behind the first jailbreak that you published?
So yes, I think this is really like one of the key times of my whole career, and even though it was really not really a job, but but I really enjoyed that time. I told you I found this 24K phone bug in the iPod boot ROM, but also that would extend to the iPhone 3GS at the time. So that was kind of like the growl finding of one of these, because it would allow you to jailbreak the phone, but untetherly, so you could reboot it, and it will jailbreak it again at boot. So it was really exciting to find this. Yeah, I don't want to get all the credits from that, because I used like an IDB from Chronic that was really precise. Then I extended on my personal time and so on. So I'm not the only one that led to this discovery. Even though I found it myself in the end. So I don't want to get all the credits from this. It was shared between different people. But why it was amazing is that because we had two different teams, the Chronic dev team and the iPhone dev team, and then when this discovery happened, the guys from the iPhone dev team came up and helped us. So there was this collaboration happening between between us, and particularly I really liked David Wong, Planet Being. That this guy is absolutely amazing. Like is one of the smartest people I encountered in my career, and like in a matter of hours, we had the actual exploit running, and it's not like it was easy to do. Again, the boot ROM is you have no feedback, no way to debug. Only iPhone is crashed or not crashed, and that's it. So you had to do it statically, finding the stack pointer, the value of the stack pointer, and so on that you have to put in there. And David Wong did this work. I was just like double checking his work, basically verifying that his computation were wrong, were right, and that was basically it. He did the whole thing, like the exploit by himself. This collaboration, and that led to the release of a jailbreak tool just like 2 days after. This is one of the best memories that I have. Yeah.
Oh wow. And so what was it like working with a team, like with a dev team? You said David Wong was very, well, highly skilled, right? Were other members of the
Mm.
Chronic dev team also highly skilled?
Yeah, yes. Some of them were really skilled too. I have a few names in mind, and I'm really sorry if I miss anyone. But for example, C Patch or Muscle Nerd, in different kind of areas, they were really good too. There was this guy called also West Bear, Chronic. Obviously, like this guy was like a really impressive reverse engineer. Uh, and again, I'm really sorry if I miss anyone, but it's been so long ago. Yeah.
No one will blame you for
Mm.
that. What was it like to collaborate with so many people on an iOS jailbreak? How do you distribute the work properly?
Um, so we had just like this IRC channel, and then we would come up to a decision together. And some people were great at like releasing tools, or especially Muscle Nerd. I think he did most of the Red Snow Pwnage tool development by himself. So some people were really great at like coming up with a tool. Some of the people were really great at coming up with exploits and so on. I'm not sure I'm answering your question fully, but I think it was like, again, trying to come up with something as fast as possible for credit, for also for the users, the people, so that they can unlock their phone as fast as possible. And there were two different kind of games too. Some people wanted to, it's not a thing anymore nowadays, but they wanted to unlock the SIM card, so you could put any SIM card in your iPhone. So that also was part of the game, trying to have a baseband exploit so that people could use any SIM card on their phone. And this part of it was mostly Mercenary, I would say, and mostly iPhone dev team. I didn't do anything in that field, but again, it was like different people, highly skilled in different domains, and also not really doing it for money, which is the difference between back then and nowadays. It was for passion, credit, and for the people. Yeah, a combination of that.
That's so nice. Do you have any other really nice memories from the old iOS jailbreaking scene?
Um, One of the key ones I would say is, oh yeah, it's like this one was amazing. But it's late in that early jailbreak days. It was in 2013, and that's actually the last jailbreak I worked on with the Evaders team. So we were 4 people: POSIX Ninja, well, Team Skex, 5 people: POSIX Ninja, Team Skex, and Muscle Nerd, and Planet Being. So we were like 5 people, and we went on stage at Hack in the Box Malaysia in late 2013. And what was amazing, so we did this presentation explaining every single bug we used in the chain. Like the injection vector, and then the kernel exploit, and so on. So everything, and then at the end of the presentation, we dropped the actual software like live. We said, "And the download link is here." And that was like a surprise and really amazing to live live like that. And just in a matter of hours, we had a peak. We were like still in the conference room, looking at a website, millions of downloads. It was crazy. Yeah.
What was the software?
So it was called Evasion 7 for iOS 7.
Did you ever get in legal trouble with Apple for your iOS jailbreaks?
No, no, I've never went into legal trouble, uh, and I'm really thankful that Apple never did something like that.
Could they have?
I think so. I think they could have made a case about it, but they never tried. I'm really thankful. I think the Apple, like the company culture, is overall really great. I work there, so I can tell that people are good, and people they were kind of looking at what we did. They were looking at this jailbreak community and the tweaks and all the software that people were doing with their iPhones, and they were pretty happy about it. I don't know if it was like also probably a good image and good. It was good for them in a way that people would use their iPhone differently and showing off with their jailbreak tweaks. Again, I'm really thankful,
And so you were approached by Apple then to come and work for them?
yeah, a few years later. My last work on jailbreaking was like late 2013, as I said, in the box. I worked at a company called Quarks Lab for it's a
I
French
know, yeah, I
company.
know
It's a
them.
French that is based. You know them? They do pen testing, malware analysis, audits, um, VR as well, a lot of different things. That's when I shifted from being like a software engineer to an actual cyber professional. And um, and I forgot the question again.
You when you moved to Apple.
Oh yeah, and then it was like a few years I had a contact at Apple in the product security team, and at some point he sent me an email and said, "Hey, we're looking for this kind of guy. He must know ARM really well. He must know about like exploitation and so on and so on." And I read this whole description. I received this email and I read this whole description, and it was like, oh, it's me. It's actually me, and and that's what I answered. Yeah, I don't know anyone except me, and the guy was like, "You're up for an interview," and then I went to Cupertino, um, did the interview at Apple, and yeah, that's how it happened.
How is the interview process there? Are you allowed to speak about it or is it hush hush?
Um, I think for me, I don't know the interview process for other people, but for me it was kind of relaxed. They already knew what I was about. They saw different jailbreak software released. They saw different code and research that I did over the years. So they knew about my skills. So it was pretty relaxed and more. They were trying to see if my personality would match the culture,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, and yeah, I also like gave them. I remember zero day. When I when I was there, I was like, oh, and you have a bug in
By the
this
way,
place.
just FYI. So then you went from software engineer to like offensive security at Quark's Lab, and then back to defensive security at Apple.
Mhm,
And then you shifted again to work again for the offensive side then later on.
mhm.
Okay. And which company did you join after leaving Apple? Was that one of the VR companies?
Yeah, it was Azimuth. So the company was, you know, Azimuth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was founded by Mark Dowd and John McDonald. Um, yeah, pretty great experience. I really liked this company,
Mm-hmm.
and because at some point when you do, so again, Apple is a great company to work with. Like the culture, the meetings with people. People are really nice, talented. That you have all the tools accessible. I mean, not everything, but you can ask at least. Especially when you're in a security team, you can ask for specific parts, and they will give you access to the code and phones and everything you need for your work to be done. Um, so yes, again, it was a great experience at Apple. I'm not saying anything wrong about that. But it was like um, defensive work, and defensive work is you're trying hard to find as much as possible, um, and um, and then you file radars, and developers will correct it or not, and sometimes depending on the priority, it is never corrected. And you have to fight for it, and you have to go into meetings and say, "Oh, this is really important. We have to fix this one because of this, that, and that." And developers have different priorities. They want to have their features out for the next version of iOS. They have their own problems, and yeah, so there's like this fight going on where you try to have the bugs that you found fixed. Um, I don't know if anything's changed, and probably because it was like 2016, and now they probably evolved in the whole process. But that was the experience at the time, and but I got this call from Mark, and he was like, "Hey," and it's really convincing when he wants to hire you. Really, really convincing. It was like, "Hey, you're doing this research at Apple, but for me, it's like the death of a VR, being on the defensive side." And he kind of convinced me in this. When you're in the offensive side, you're thrilled. You want to find something, and that single thing that you find, even if it's rare, can lead to the success of the company. You know, so you're trying hard to search that single thing, and it is going to be used as much as the company can use it. We will try at least, which is quite the opposite. And also you have like what I remember about Azimuth at the beginning, like this, is that you have kind of a liberty to do whatever you want as soon as you find bugs, and also great team building in islands around the world, in Fiji, in Hawaii, and so on. So um, that's the a great life to be in the offensive side, and in a company like that. And yeah, so I work closely with Mark, and also different people, particularly Tarjay Mont, which is like a great researcher, one of the best as well. Um, Now working at Catalyst Security, and we had a great collaboration, and still my friend nowadays. Yeah, John McDonald. Who else? A few. Sorry, it's been years. Yeah, but anyway, the collaboration was great,
Mm-hmm.
and I had good time, and I found different interesting bugs over the years too. So yeah, but it was really technical, really technical work. That's only what I did at Azimuth, like finding bugs, doing research. I was like a VR for 5 years.
And so you collaborated a lot with other researchers, or were you working on your own most of the time?
Yeah, that's part of the problem, and that's the biggest problem in the industry in general, in cyber is for most companies. I mean, the companies that I know about is people kind of lonely working on their own thing. Um, so you are, especially remote people. So you're working on this specific part. It could be kernel, it could be user mode, it could be anything. You're working on this specific research, and you're the only one knowing about it because you're highly skilled in that specific domain, and nobody can really help you on it. So you're kind of alone, working by yourself on the on this thing. Also, different issues like the fact that the VPN was not really accessible. You had to do different things to join the VPN, and not smooth. You know, not a smooth experience. Leaded to people being kind of isolated and working on their own thing, and just like doing a meetup every week, a meeting, talking about what they did, and but yeah, just like relating the week without anyone being able to help them or do anything about it. So that that's a kind of a lonely work,
Mm.
working on as a VR remotely like that, and that's also part of the reason why I changed after 5 years and moved to Vigilant. We wanted to do an Azimuth 2.0.
Mm-hmm. How was your work-life balance at the time?
Pretty awful life work balance. Like starting usually early in the day and working late at night, by periods. Sometimes it would be like small amount of time in the day, maybe just a few hours, 4 hours, something, and sometimes it would be terrible, like more than 14 hours. You know, so the work-life balance is, especially in VR, I would say, is hard to maintain because you're working on projects that are really interesting and key for the company as well. So when you're onto something and you're close to finding something, you want to push hard, and it's a race to, your bug may be fixed, someone else could find it, or and there's competition between the others too. You know, there's a bounty, and people want to get the bounty, the internal bounty in the company. So they tend not to share what they're working on with the others. Yeah, I'm kind of working on that, and they don't tell the exact details because they don't want you to be involved and have a share of their bounty. So
Within the company?
so yeah, yeah, you don't know about that?
No?
Yeah, yeah. Like most VR companies have bug bounties internally, to instate people into finding bugs and as fast as possible, and that create competition also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so yes, it's a pretty weird, and from my point of view and my experience, hard life work balance to maintain.
So when you went back to Vigilant and you wanted to create a Azimuth 2.0, um, like work
Yeah.
culture, I assume, did you manage? How's the work culture right now?
Yeah, I think we kind of managed to change this a little in Vigilant. Right now, I don't know because I'm not vigilant anymore. But before I left, I think the mood was actually right. Like people sharing, working together on things, and trying to advance as teams rather than people working by themselves. I
Mm-hmm.
think we managed to do that.
I heard as well that there were some rumors that people from Vigilant do a lot of CrossFit. Is that true? Is that like the best way that you guys find to blow off steam?
Right. People in Sydney, yeah, people in Sydney, they went to this class, or they probably do it still, um, twice or thrice a week, a personal CrossFit class. It was,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty great,
That's the
pretty
good
great. I
work-life
think
balance.
that helps, that helps with the mind, when you're too much into this kind of problems, issues, you're trying to solve different things, so many questions, and then you just go to the CrossFit and then forget about all of this.
Yeah, I see. Okay, and so now you're working at Epsilon. You've left Vigilant for some reasons or whatever. Are you also trying to instate a similar work-life culture that you had, or like a work culture that you had at Azimuth as VP of research?
Yeah, yeah. I think Epsilon is kind of a 3.0 vigilant. We're trying to improve on that as well. Like really have people working on the same thing together, well, and with the same goal.
No internal competition.
No internal competition. Currently, we haven't really decided yet, but we're kind of in like the management. We're kind of against these internal bounties, or we are trying to figure out the best way to do it. Still haven't come up with the exact decision yet, but that's something we plan to do. So the company is like just 10 months old, and we are like 15 people. So we are growing fast. And yes, with the goal of having a good culture, having a really positive management, teamwork is one of the thing we want to put first into this. And yeah, also I think like the management, we all come from VR, so we know exactly how difficult it is, how hard it is to maintain the work-life balance, as you said, and we understand exactly what the researchers are going through. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. The CEO, Jeremy, right, or the founder,
Yes.
he was also
Yeah.
working at Azimuth with you, right?
Yes. Yeah. We shared sometimes at Hazimat Trenchant,
Is
actually.
that how
Yeah.
you met? How did you meet Jeremy?
Yeah. We met. When he joined Trenchant, and I really liked him like directly. He's someone that is communicant. Is trying to talk to everyone, to create this culture of communication, and break this isolation, this remote work isolation that we're suffering from. So yes, so that's where we met remotely, I would say, initially, and then we met in one of these buildings, retreats that Trenchant did at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And yeah, we liked each other's. Yeah.
Do you have a funny story with you and Jeremy?
Any funny story? Yeah, I remember one of the funny stories was in the Maldives. So we had this retreat in the Maldives, and we were just like throwing ice at people, like after the sauna, and things like that. Yeah.
That's funny. I feel
Yeah.
like Jeremy is a very big prankster. Like at Offensive Con, he was going around with like crickets, and he's like, "Who wants some bugs?"
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that's Jeremy. Yeah.
The first time I met Jeremy was at his boat party at Hexacon, like for the announcement of Epsilon.
Uh-huh.
And so I was going to the bathroom downstairs, so I was going inside the boat going down, and he stops me, he's like, "Do you see something wrong with this?" And he's pointing at the logo. Now I'm looking at the logo, I'm like, I don't know. He's like, "Okay, good, because there's one pixel that's off." That was my first conversation with him ever. I don't think he remembers that.
Yeah, I remember that. And also, one thing that I noted in that particular event when he presented like Epsilon, and something that I think describes Jeremy really well, is he went on stage, explained about Epsilon, about this new company that is creating, and then he invited everyone, like all the founders, and and you could really feel the fact that he likes people, and he doesn't want to be like the one guy. He wants everyone to be on that stage, and he's really proud of everyone being in the company.
What are the fun parts of your job at Epsilon as a VP of research?
One of the good part, I would say, is trying to create this culture and having people work together, and and we try to have channels talking about music on our solution on VPN, on our VPN solution. We we try to meet as much as possible in Paris or in Barcelona, have everyone together. We really think about what makes people happy and what makes a good team, and that's the best part, I think, of my job at Epsilon. Then the rest is also, I do like maybe 50% of my job is hands-on, like helping on finding bugs and so on, and finding and solutions for that. Um, and that's where it evolved from what I did at Vigilant. Vigilant was like maybe 95% technical and just like 5% management, and now it's more a 50-50 thing, and that's what I like. I'm evolving in my career. I'm kind of old now. I'm 45 years old. I've seen all of this going on, and yeah, this job is the right for me now. But that's yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanted to add about Epsilon before we move on?
Sure. So we have a great team. We're really looking for technical excellence in what we do. We think we have good leadership and we care about people. And we're looking for other people to join. Like if you're a VR and then you think you're great at what you do, iOS right now, maybe like in the future we'll probably extend to other platforms, but right now we're really into iOS mostly. Either user mode, or kernel or anything. Yeah, please reach out.
How can they contact you?
They can either contact me over Twitter, like a direct message, or on our website, epsilon-tech.com. There is like a contact there, an email, contact@epsilon-tech.com.
Okay, I have some more questions about you, your
Sure,
insights.
sure.
Is there one weird tool habit that you swear by when you're debugging an exploit, or even maybe like a ritual? Do you like pray to the gods of Apple?
What do I do? No, I'm kind of anxious. Essentially, I'm anxious. I want this thing to work, and after the years, I had so many um, roadblocks happening. So you found a vuln, and then you're like trying to exploit it, and you go, and at some point, boom, you hit a wall, a roadblock, and then there's nothing you can do, and you stop there. So much frustration over the years, that now it's hard for me, to have any emotion. I'm like anxious mostly, and until the end, until the thing work, I cannot even have any joy or anything. I'm like, no, no joy. Let's go. Let's continue. And sometimes it takes weeks. And until I see that finish line, I'm all anxious about it.
Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing in your mind.
And then the celebration comes after. But yeah, no ritual, no particular ritual I have in mind. I, I don't know. I'm not praying. I'm not. No.
Okay. Do you listen to music when do like research, or when, for example, when you were working on your first iOS jailbreak? What were you listening to at the time?
Wow. You asked me for like a question, like a specific question 10 years ago or something. What I would listen to. Yeah, probably some electronic music, some electronic dance music, Daft Punk or something energetic. Yeah, sometimes I do this kind of sessions. Yeah, dance music, and so on. Yeah.
You still do that now?
Yeah. Sometimes when, like, for example, when I don't really require very like focused work. Like, for example, I'm working on fuzzing some yeah, software. I cannot really go into details here, but let's say I'm fuzzing some software, and then it's just like about trying to find a good corpus for it, trying to to turn the right knobs, and just watching this going on. Yeah, I have music, and it's part of my experience. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like music really puts you in a grind set.
Do you listen to music?
Yeah, yeah. So my boyfriend lives like in another country, so what we like to do is on Spotify we do jams, and so we'll listen to the music together. So it's
Oh,
kind of like
that's
we're
very
together,
cool.
we're not
That's
together.
great. Yeah, we should do that. We should do jams at Epsilon too. That's a great thing.
Yeah, you should make an Epsilon playlist on Spotify.
Okay, okay, good. Yeah, good idea. I like your ideas. They're great. Yeah.
Well, if you do it, I need to be able to listen as well.
Okay, sure, you will.
I have some more questions on more like your insights about the industry. How would you describe like your current vision of cybersecurity and maybe where things are headed right now?
This is a very difficult question. What I can tell is compared to the early days, now it's mostly like, as I told you initially, it was like credit, passion, fame, and people, and now it's more about money, and we see all these people applying for jobs, and it seems like their number one priority is more money, which is understandable, but this is where everything shifted. Some like now, especially in the offensive side, all these chains are worth like a lot of money, sometimes millions. It's public information. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like what's like the culture shifted over the years. Where we are going to, I have no idea. This is like a very good question, and there's so many startups being created. The market is like shattering into smaller companies. Some of them will survive. Some of them will fusion into bigger companies and so on. But the market is like evolving really fast right now. New security conferences every year, new companies you've never heard of, and also hiring really quick. And yeah, that's a very good question. I think there will be a selection at the point, because of the difficulty, and the money will. It's not an infinite source. At some point it's going to slow down, and there will be a next phase really soon, probably in the next couple of years, where collaboration and fusion of different of these smaller companies will happen. I don't know if I answer your
Yeah, that
question,
was great.
but yeah, okay.
It was really insightful, actually. It's very interesting because I haven't heard that insight from anyone else in the industry. So, and you said people are hiring really quickly right now. What would you say is a good VR candidate at the moment, like today?
A good VR candidate for a company like Epsilon is someone that wants to work in a team, go to the office, and want to share and learn is technical excellence. That's what I think a good VR candidate is. Also, someone that can switch from one OS to the other if it's required. Like if it's really great at user mode on iOS, it should kind of be able to help on Android too, and learn about this new thing. So the passion of learning new skills, the passion about the technical aspects of this. That's what I think is a good VR. And also, I tend to think the personality is important too. I've seen some people like working alone, not talking to anyone, and that's not sustainable. And communication is, I think, a skill that needs to be acquired for these VRs. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so someone that doesn't stay in their corner and work without talking to
yeah,
anyone. In terms of like experience, like do they need to have published online, or do you not really look at that? What do you look at?
yeah. Having obviously you're 100% right that having reference like blog posts or software that they share on GitHub or articles, anything can help in the recruitment process to identify them. CVEs can help too, like if they've reported different bugs to Apple or Google, especially like Google, and because at some point the bugs will get released, and you know exactly how the guy interacted with the team and so on. So all of this is really important for the resume of a VR right now. And also one thing really important for someone in this field is it's a really small field. So if you did something wrong in your company, or you leaked stuff, or yeah, people will know about it. So being like loyal the whole time, and being a nice person overall is a really an important
Mhm.
factor.
I have some more maybe iOS, the more like mitigations or security related questions. Do you think that security by obscurity is actually a myth, or would you say that it sometimes works?
It absolutely works. Especially, I mean, there's both sides of it, but it's gonna slow down. It's gonna slow down the finding of bugs. So if you developed it in a secure fashion, I'm like let's say you're Apple, and then you have this particular component that is the authentication of iMessage or something, and it's pretty obscure, and there is no code that you can, like source code that you can access, and it's all about like reversing it on IDA, and it's also obfuscated and everything. It's going to take years probably for people to understand what's going on in there, and it gives you a lead as a security company for fixing it up, improving it, and working on other things, you know, rather than having everything in clear and people poking at it. So both aspects works, I would say, depending on how it's done.
Which iOS mitigations would you say are the most weight bearing today, like the hardest to bypass?
The hardest mitigations to bypass are the ones that are hardware based. So everything like, for example, SPTM, which is backed up with actual hardware in the ARM core. SPTM, the exclaves, all the technologies and pack and all of that is backed by hardware is the hardest to bypass at any time. There's probably at some point, we don't know exactly when, MTE coming, and the whole industry is shaking about this. Like, when will it happen, if ever, and what will exactly be covered by MTE? Yeah, all of this is the worst for the offensive side, you know. The reason being that when you when you come up with a hardware security feature like that, as a company like Apple, you spend like millions, probably even more, probably billions on it, and all aspects of it are checked, double checked, triple checked, different people, different teams looking at it, feature review, red teaming, and so on. So when it gets out, usually it's pretty strong.
I've read some stuff online while I was doing some research, and I came across a lot of people who are, for example, there's someone I know, and he said that he switched from iOS to Android because he wanted to find more bugs.
It makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. Android is kind of easier, I would say, in some extent, especially because of there is so much fragmentation, and you can find something really easily in this particular brand, in this particular software. Um, but that's also the bad side of it. Usually, when you find something on an Android bug LP, it's gonna work only on a set of restricted phones, and that's what's different with iOS. iOS, you spend a lot of time and energy, but as soon as you find something, it works across all devices, and it also works on Mac. You know,
Yeah, the whole ecosystem.
the whole ecosystem. So yeah, so some people seems to shift to Android because it's easier, but they will hit the fan later on because their bugs will only work on a certain set of devices. Yeah.
Are mitigations on Android still easier to bypass than on iOS these days?
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. 100%. Yeah. Everywhere it's like a joke basically. So you have this fortress, let's say. I'm talking about, for example, the hypervisors and so on in on Samsung or Huawei. You have this fortress, but they don't protect the right things, you know. So the mitigations are mostly jokes. As soon as you have something working, an exploit you can just bypass them, like not even touching what they are trying to protect, you know. So it's mostly, I would say, some kind of it's kind of iOS, but 10 years ago, where they had features, but still you could do whatever you wanted differently. Probably this will evolve in a few years. It will reach the same level of difficulty as iOS, but right now it's not the main problem. The main problem is fragmentation, really.
And so by fragmentation, what do you mean exactly?
Yeah, yeah. Fragmentation is the fact that when you find something or you bypass something, it's only for a set of devices, and then
Oh, okay.
so if you want to be compatible with like across a lot of devices, you have to include different bugs, and yeah.
I know that a Samsung LP won't work on a Xiaomi yeah, phone.
Mm. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. So even the kernel is compiled with different options. Sometimes they have their own drivers. Sometimes they patch the code. Sometimes the backports things, and the other brand doesn't. Or yeah, it's like we are not looking at the same thing. It's not the same software. Everything is different.
Hmm.
It's very hard to have something that works across all devices.
Like with all these mitigations and VR becoming harder, what currently excites you in the world of VR or exploit development?
The challenge. It's still possible to do. Like if you asked me the same question 10 years ago, I was like, at some point, it's going to be impossible to do anything. And what I'm impressed is like after this many years, this many mitigations on both iOS and Android, it's still possible to do everything. It just like takes more efforts and more people. And that's why the price increase, but it's still possible and even more challenging. So I think that's the nice game, you know.
Hmm. What's one thing that people misunderstand about hackers then here?
What people generally, like the public, misunderstand about hackers. Oh yeah, we have this cliche of being like in a black hoodie in front of a computer and hacking something in like minutes and bypassing like no, it doesn't work like that. And uh, I think people also misunderstand the difficulty and the what we have on our shoulders, like that we have this so many questions and anxiety to find something, and yeah, it's not like in the movies, you know. Yeah.
It's not a black screen with green writing scrolling up. Well, it can be, but do you remember the first time we met?
It was in Hexacon, right? In the bus.
Offensive con, yes.
Yeah, yeah, offensive con. Yeah, yeah, offensive con. Yeah.
Do you remember the first question I asked you?
I don't.
I asked you, do you know anything about iOS security? And you were like, no, not at all. I don't know anything.
And then Ahmad was around, and it was like, no.
It was Geoffrey was like, wait, I'm gonna tell you right now, he's one of the guys who did the first jailbreak, and I was like, oh no. But then I was like, I've got to
that
get him on my podcast.
that was fun times. fun times. And then I put the sticker on the window, the chit
Oh
chat
yeah,
sticker on the bus window.
I forgot about that. I hope I'm not gonna get in trouble. Yeah. But yeah,
Mm.
I'm so happy that you ended up coming anyways, because I remember you said you were gonna make a podcast as well with Jeremy, I think, or
Oh, that was a
someone.
joke. That was a
Yeah, yeah.
joke.
You wanted to be my rival.
Right.
No, I'm
No, it's
joking.
not happening. Not happening. And you're doing this so well. There's no competition anyway.
Well, thank you. I enjoy these so much. I learn so much every time I do them, so I'm super happy. And I hope people also learn while they listen. I have some closing questions. Some things that I like to ask my hosts, my guests. Who do you think is an underrated talent in the industry? Someone we don't talk about enough.
Mm, an actual person, or what am I?
Yeah, it would be more like a person.
Not anything coming to my mind right now. Yeah, I'm sorry about it.
If tomorrow all bugs were patched, what other line of work would you do?
You mean there's no work anymore? It's impossible. There's no gain.
No more bugs.
Um, uh, well, I don't think it's what you're saying is possible. There'll always be some kind of bug, either logical or it could be just like metadata that is leaked when you do something on the phone, or there'll always be something. But let's say there's nothing we can do. What job I would do? I would just retreat and enjoy being a dad and being with my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it, I guess.
Retirement.
A retirement or something AI related, maybe something maybe using AI to find bugs in software or to improve our yeah, I don't know. I don't think actually know. Either AI or nothing.
Mm-hmm. Nothing sounds cool. Sitting at a beach or in the mountains, whichever one you prefer, just chilling. Sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's my dream at some point. Yeah.
Do you I have an iOS design question for you. What do you think about liquid glass?
Well, I was really against, like, when iOS 7 was released, I was really against it. Like I was like, yeah, this thing is ugly, it's horrible, and uh, and that's a bad decision ever. And over the years, I get used to it. And now when I looked at iOS 6, I'm like, it's actually it was not that great, you know. So I think the same is going to happen here. People are shocked by this new design, and but they get used to it, and then it's going to be the next thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, people like to complain. Okay, this is my last question for you. What are you going to be working on next? Any personal projects, trainings, maybe, or talks at conferences?
Nothing specific. Like except my main goal is like having Epsilon successful, like helping the much I can for Epsilon to grow and uh, and to um, and to thrive. That's my upcoming project. No talks, no nothing. But yeah, who knows? Maybe a keynote sometime in a conference would be possible. Yeah,
Very
if
cool.
I get confident enough.
Going to Hexacon in October?
Yes, Hexacon, POC, and probably the next offensive con. Yeah, that's the main ones.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Very cool. Okay. Well, I think this is all I had for you.
Thank you very much. It was great. Great time.
Yeah, I was really excited to learn more about you. Because from the research I did, I was like, wow, I need to talk to this guy. So, do you have any last words you want to say before I shut it off?
Not really. Just like I really enjoyed this interview. Thanks again, and talk next time maybe. Thank you very much, Paola. Yeah.
Ben, merci pour tout.